The first evidence we looked at was that the New Testament scriptures were written sincerely. That is, the writers had no discernible motive for writing other than pointing their readers to Jesus as if he truly rose from the dead and they had experienced him. Second, I talked about the fact that the New Testament scriptures were written early. Other than the Apostle John, all the other writings, by their context, seem to have been written prior to 70 AD, meaning they could have been fact-checked by those who were alive at that time and saw what was being written about. Third, we saw that the New Testament scriptures included embarrassing details of the disciples. And fourth, hard sayings of Jesus, both of which would be counterproductive if you're just trying to con men into following you. Fifth, we saw that the New Testament writers pointed to that which would falsify their claims. And con men don't do that. They avoid that like the plague. But the New Testament writers pointed to the resurrection of Jesus. And the New Testament claims rise or fall on the resurrection of Jesus. Six, we saw that the New Testament has transformed millions of lives, also undermines corrupt quote-unquote ministers who would want positions of power to con people, as the scriptures call for a high standard of living for anyone who would want to be in that position of leadership. And then we saw the New Testament writers recorded prophecy being fulfilled by Jesus, which again could have been fact-checked by those alive at that time. And then we saw that the New Testament scripture in our previous video enjoys powerful manuscript evidence, thousands of copies of text, which can be compared and contrasted. Not only that, but thousands of quotations that Christians of the scripture that Christians wrote to each other in the first few centuries. And then in our 10th point, the scriptures survive. The Bible promises the survival of the nation of Israel, of the church, and of the scriptures. Jesus said, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. The Great Commission requires the words of Jesus that he gave to the church to be preserved. At the end of each gospel account in the early part of Acts, we see the Great Commission, which requires the preservation of the scriptures, and here they are this very day. So I hope that study was a blessing to you, or at least a challenge.